Hello and welcome to the 50th edition of the Forensic Update. I'm Bill Duffin. DNA is often referred to as the gold standard in forensic science. NFSTC has a 22-year history of helping agencies establish best practices, providing training for analysts who can provide scientifically sound evidence that will stand up in the courtroom. These same principles are behind our Department of State training for 14 analysts from Central America. NFSTC's forensic biologist, Elizabeth Colon, talked to us about the importance of executing this work.
Students are here to learn everything that is involved in the training of an analyst from beginning to end. So that means bioscreening, DNA extraction, amplification, CE and data interpretation, proper validation of equipment, and personnel in the lab. I think the most beneficial part is that they're away from the laboratory, so they don't have that constant disruption of cases coming in. So far, they're really liking it. I think it's a new experience for them, so I think that now the first couple of weeks they're probably a little overloaded, not only in the lab, but for many of them this is the first time that they're coming to the United States, so it's a very big change for them. But the fact that they only have to focus on this, I think, is very beneficial to them. The training is important because any laboratory that produces data that is going to be used in a trial, it can ensure that they're producing the best quality product out there and that they're not just processing cases without any methods or without proper training. And at the end, people's lives ultimately depend on the exam that these individuals are doing in their laboratories.
Follow along with this training on all of our social media channels. We are excited to announce a new contract that will continue our work with U.S. Marine Corps law enforcement teams, supporting them with logistics and exploitation training. The contract is for 1 base year and 4 option years with a total value of $12.7 million. NFSTC is proud to support our armed forces and committed to providing the highest levels of quality service. The response to our opioids and officer safety webinar was overwhelming, and the event filled up very quickly. Because of the critical nature of this issue, we're providing the entire 30-minute session on demand. Mike Healy, a forensic chemist with the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, talked about safety procedures and proper protocol for handling fentanyl and other synthetic opioids in the field. You can find the shareable link on our As Seen on the Forensic Update page. Please share this webinar to increase knowledge and safety for all agencies. 4 years ago, we released our first Forensic Update. Who knew it would be so popular way back when we did our very first story about DNA tagging? 4 years and 50 editions later, we've covered forensic science stories from across the globe on a variety of topics. To commemorate the occasion, we asked our staff to tell us a little bit about their favorite stories.
My favorite episode is the March 2015 episode in which Dr. Blair from University of Central Florida is actually developing a 3D printed spectrometer, a Raman spectrometer that actually attaches to a cell phone in which an individual can then do chemical analysis in the field.
My favorite thing about the Forensic Update is how it highlights the various scientists that we have working for NFSTC, and it gives you an in-depth look at what they do on a day-to-day basis and some of the topics that you may not be aware of.
My favorite episode is the one where you talk about how the giant African pouched rats are trained to go into the field and detect landmines. And I also learned that they use them to detect tuberculosis.
So one of my favorite Forensic Update episodes was the one where Mitch Morrissey was talking about using familial DNA to identify victims from the Vietnam War. And I find this interesting because it helps, it gives yet another use for DNA, not just for criminal purposes, but also helping people find where their loved ones may have been, for either reuniting them or finding their remains, putting them to rest.
My favorite Forensic Update is actually the one where we discussed forensic veterinary medicine. It's really interesting to see the application of forensic science to issues involving pets. Somebody's out there looking to see if something happened to any animal and giving that animal a voice.
And my favorite story? Well, they've all been fascinating, from veterinary forensics to the interesting and disgusting story about using cockroaches to find victims in rubble. But if I had to pick a story, it would probably be this one. We couldn't have reached this point without you, and we at NFSTC are looking forward to bringing you much more forensic science news well into the future. Be sure to stay connected with us on social media and tune into the 51st edition of the Forensic Update real soon. For all of us here at NFSTC, I'm Bill Duffin. Thanks for watching.